Hello again. Excuse me. Hello again, all you beautiful people. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, Miss Grace. You made it. Number one, number one. Hello, hello. It is still May 25th. I told you I'd be back. Hello, Dawn. Hello, how are you doing this afternoon? Hello there. Oh, hello, Janice. Daniel Berry, hello. Happy Sunday to you. Hello, Raymond Thomas. Hello. Hello, hello. Y'all might hear a little rattling over there. My husband is putting the grill, a big grill together, and he's kind of getting frustrated. He's like, "What kind of grill is this?" Hello, Canada, True Crime. Hello, hello, hello. Scandinavia. Hello, hello. I still said it wrong. I still said it wrong. Oh my God. And not enough coffee. I've been working on all these um I've been working on all these children today, all these missing children. Sue Jones, hello, hello. Oh my God, y'all know me. Oh, so anyway, I was just realizing, Terry Parker, hello, hello. I was just realizing as I come on here about 2 hours from here over in Pensacola. Did y'all see we had that um, earthquake? Earthquake over there? What the heck is going on? Now we be getting earthquakes here in Florida? Mm-mm. They said, but no tsunamis. Hello, hello, everybody coming in. Please hit that thumbs up. Please hit the thumbs up button and give it some of your DNA and some good old love. That's the only time I want y'all's DNA, honey. I don't be caring about y'all's DNA. Except for that thumbs up, because we got to get these precious children's names and faces out there, right? Because today is the International Day for Missing Children. And today we went over Sebastian Rogers. I featured him, and we are now featuring Haley Cummings. Hey, Woman's Warrior. Hello, hello, beautiful. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hello, everybody coming in. I hope everybody's doing good. Doing all the safe things, the fun things, enjoying the weekend, being safe. The safest place for me is at home, honey. When these holidays come, the safest place is to be home. Hey, Peggy, how are you doing today? I hope you're doing good. Hope everybody is doing good. Hope everybody is having fun today. Enjoying a little downtime. Raymond said, I stay home. Honey, that's the safest place. Sometimes. Unfortunately for some of these kids, it's not. But sometimes for everybody else, and it should be for these kids, but fortunately, sometimes it's the safest place on the holidays. Woman's Warrior said, Smiley, good to see you. Too much love for all you're doing. I have sent you a few things via email that could help you fight for Sebastian. Okay, I'll definitely look into that. I will definitely look into it because I will definitely keep this fight going for Sebastian. And, I'm not going anywhere. And anything sent to me would be great. And I appreciate everything. Chicken lady, hello, hello, hello. Hope everybody is doing great. Hope everybody's doing good today. And give everybody a little bit more time to come in. I just got so used to this, I don't even look to see anymore who's going on and who's not. I apologize. I apologize for that. So good to see everybody. Anybody got any plans for tomorrow? Anybody? I hope it's not too hot though, because it is really getting so hot. True Crime Housewife, hello to you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you being here. Nope, staying home as usual, Grace said. My son, he called me this morning early, and he's like, which I was working on Sebastian's this morning, but he's like, want to go to the water park with us? I said, nope, ask your dad. What he really meant to say was, hey, Mom, would you go with me and help watch the kids? I said, ask your dad. Dad come outside, and I said, did your son call you? Yep. I ain't going to the water park. All he wants me to do is watch them kids. I know what he wants. I said, yep. He's the one with the little ones, but he's good. He takes them everywhere. He's always on the go with them. Yep. Let's see. Raymond said, I was thinking how CP said the $1 million. Well, in my opinion, the $1 million. Oh, Raymond. That's a good thought. And y'all know, I'm just saying in my opinion, police officers don't make that much money. It's unfortunate because they do put their life on the line every day. It really is. And they, and you do have very honest ones out there, ones who take their oath seriously. But then you got, everybody can't be corrupt, but you always got one or two, and they always stand up for each other. They don't open their mouth, so, hey, it's $1 million is a lot of money. $1 million is a lot of money, folks. Just saying. That's why you got the corrupt ones that when they pull people over for these rugs and stuff like that, and it's out there, I don't care what nobody says. That's why when they pull these people over, they'll take half of it and they'll turn another half in. They'll be like, well, and they'll just put it on paper, money, rugs. This is what we got, and they keep the rest. Yeah, it is Woman's Warrior, but it's the truth. And again, the truth is the truth is the truth. You don't see some of these in the business that don't make the money with the fancy houses, the fancy land, and all the fancy things, and be able to get by on something besides paycheck to paycheck, not making it, living above their means for nothing. I'm just saying, not accusing nobody, just saying, hell, we had the damn mayor and higher ups and everybody here going to jail for all kinds of things here. It is what it is. People can be bought. Smiley, my ex-boyfriend, when I was young, dropped himself in it arguing with L.E. There was more rugs than he had when he reached the police station. Yeah. I mean, I know people that literally went to prison, did their time, did everything. Could have got more time, but they put on paper, this was X amount, this was X amount. The money was this, that, the other. Nope, it wasn't. Because you know why? They took more. They took it. Facts. They had theirself a little party. Facts. They take their guns. They take their whatever. Oh, I didn't mean to say that. Whoops. But it is true. It is true. That's how they get their little toys. It ain't because they buy them at these auctions, these police auctions that they have every year or whatever. I mean, the truth is the truth. But anyway, yeah. People know that. People know. So, it is what it is. It's unfortunate. It is unfortunate. Hey, Barbara Palmer. Hello. Good to see you. Good to see everybody coming in. So today is International Missing Children's Day. And like I said, we're going to feature Haley Cummings right now. I have put out some shorts. I did go live today and talk about Sebastian Rogers earlier. And I just want to go over Haley Cummings. Haley Cummings this story was way before I came to YouTube, but this one has always touched me too. I thought she was the cutest little girl, and I felt this was a very shady case. Very sad. Haley Ann Marie Cummings. She's been missing since February 10th of 2009. Sasoma, Florida. She is female, as you can see, very pretty little girl. Her ears were pierced. And if you have any information on her, please call the sheriff's office in Putnam County. One of their numbers is 1-386-329-0801. I do have numbers up here on the screen also. They are intertwined as well. You can call anonymous. The Crime Stoppers number is up there as well. They're always anonymous. Everything that they do is anonymous. They don't track you back. They give you like numbers on paper. You go to a bank. They don't even want you near the window. No, they're all anonymous. Everything's anonymous about you. I wish Sumner County would get hooked up with Crime Stoppers. I don't know why they're not. But anyway, that's something else that needs to be checked into, in my opinion. But anyway, those numbers are on the screen as well for Haley. But so on February 10th, 2009, Misty Crossland, she calls 911 to report then 5-year-old Haley Cummings missing at 3:17. About that, the same time Haley's father, and I felt so sorry for him. I don't believe he had anything to do with this, but Ronald Cummings, that was Misty's boyfriend, was coming home from work. And Misty was watching Haley and her little 3-year-old brother at the time. Now, Misty was only 17. That's kind of a lot to put on a 17-year-old. But anyway, there was Ruggs involved. And Misty says she woke up to find Haley gone. Misty said she put Haley to bed around 8 p.m. and she was missing when she got herself up I believe, to go get a drink of water. It might have changed. She might have went to go to the bathroom. But Misty, again, was 17 at the time. Misty claimed the back door was propped open with this cinder block. Well, one of those brick-o blocks is what we called it. My dad was a bricklayer, laid the foundation. But anyway, we called them brick-o blocks. They were just the cinder blocks. And when Ronald got home, he was so frantic. I thought that boy was, I thought he was going to have a heart attack. I used to watch Nancy Grace when she covered this. I still watch Nancy Grace. But anyway, when she covered this, I thought he was going to have a heart attack on that show over his daughter missing. That's what I thought. I felt very sorry for him. He was just beside himself. But he even, while he was on the phone, he got on the phone too with 911, and he was screaming and he was yelling that someone stole his child. And he even accused Misty on that call, implying she was not telling the truth. And I remember that very well. And that was just wild. We're going to watch a video here. Give me just a second. Let's see.
At 6, it's a case that's rocked Putnam County for years, the disappearance of Haley Cummings. Today, her father, Ronald, walked out of prison. It's putting the spotlight back on the search for the missing girl who would now be in her late teens. The Putnam County Sheriff's Office has kept open the case of the missing then 5-year-old. The Sheriff's Office says it's followed up on thousands of leads, which include 2 more recent leads in different states. News4Jax reporter Scott Johnson has followed this case since it first happened in 2009. Scott, you just spoke with Haley's grandmother moments ago there in Putnam County.
I did. We've kept in touch with her since 2009, Joy, and she was here. She brought Ronald Cummings home to her house. They're putting him up at a place to stay for a few weeks to get acclimated back into society after serving several years for drug charges. Now she tells me that he still focuses on his daughter all these years later. To this day, the Putnam County Sheriff's Office says they still get regular tips on whatever happened to Haley Cummings. Still, there hasn't been any real progress. 2 of the most recent tips came from across the country. First, there was a person interviewed in Tennessee with possible information. That went nowhere. Then there was an interesting lead in Oregon, a transient who was claiming to be Haley and was about her age. Detectives traveled to Oregon and took DNA. It was not her. At this point, the case is moving toward cold case status. One thing that has detectives still perplexed is whether any of the people locked up for drug charges with Ronald Cummings had anything to do with their disappearance. Ronald was the only one never suspected by investigators because he was working when she disappeared and regularly spoke out about his desire to find Haley in 2009.
Please call and give it to the police department so we can get my daughter back. Please, all we want is my child. That's it. I just want my daughter back. That's all.
Ronald Cummings' then girlfriend, Misty Crosland, was watching Haley the night of her disappearance. Crosland is currently serving a decades-long prison sentence. She's not scheduled to get out until 2031. When the various suspects were sentenced to prison on drug charges, one of the hopes prosecutors had was that one of them may have information on what happened to Haley. But that never came to fruition. And now the Putnam County Sheriff's Office continues to take regular tips that to this point, 13 years later, haven't turned up anything. And there is a hefty reward out there for anyone with information who leads to finding Haley. It's $15,000. you have to call Crime Stoppers of Northeast Florida. You can't be anonymous. The number is 1-888-277-TIPS. We're live in Satsuma. Scott Johnson, Channel 4, the local station.
Scott, what about the general mood there in Satsuma? This case is now 13 years old. Is the community still focused on it, or has it been somewhat forgotten?
I've been monitoring this for more than a decade, Joy. You know, in 2010 through 2015, it was still very much on everyone's minds. When I go around the area now, it's half and half. The old timers who've been here a long time, they remember it. They know it very well. They want her found.
Thank you,
A
honey.
lot of people have moved here and they don't know about it. I mentioned Haley Cummings to them and they say they haven't heard about that case. So it depends on who you talk to. Joy?
All right, Scott Johnson reporting live tonight. Scott, thanks for that insight. In 2019, News4JAX anchor Jennifer Waugh, she revisited the search for Haley 10 years after the girl's disappearance. You can listen to our podcast on the case, which retraces the events from that night and the endless search for answers. It's called Into Thin Air. It's available anywhere you get your podcasts.
Hello, everybody coming in. I seen Lorraine Law and JR Girl 22. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I agree, Mama the OG. I agree. This is a case I was always hoping would be solved. I don't know if you were here a while ago or not, but this was way before I got on YouTube, and this case just really touched me. This was really sad, and for so many different reasons, but it never got solved. Maybe one day. And this one too, they had, of course, they got right on it. They had all the dogs and the dive team and hundreds of volunteers. They treated it as if it was an abduction. Back then, I don't know if a lot of people, there was a lot of red flags. It was some weird stuff. Of course, it ain't like now if we were on here digging and all that kind of stuff, but there was a lot of strange things in this case. They put out an Amber Alert, but the inconsistencies did start to kick in over time with Misty's story. And then the stories of that night changed many times. In fact, she said she was asleep. And then she kind of sort of suggested that she was not home the whole night. She'd not been there the full night. Police were suspicious of her and her behavior. They knew she was key to the case, though. Hey, Gypsy girl. And she was never charged in the connection to the case, though. Nobody was ever charged into the connection of the case. Now, I want y'all to kind of listen to this because, what they did with this case, though, was interesting. Misty said she got up to get a drink of water and noticed her missing. She also said they slept in the same room. Yeah, Nancy Terry was on this case a lot. That's what I was saying. I watched Nancy a lot during this, and it was just unbelievable. But her little brother later told the police that a man in all black took Haley out, but they could not confirm or verify that. And in spite of Nancy Grace and all the media coverage over the years of this investigation, nobody has ever been arrested, not in relation to Haley's disappearance. Now, remember, Ronald kind of calmed down towards Misty, okay? I don't know what the issues was and all that without getting very deep into this story. And today we don't have a lot of time with that because we're trying to showcase different kids and stuff, and I hope to at least be on here one more time. But he ended up marrying Misty, okay? to the long and short of it, they ended up getting married. And yeah, and there's others setting up to do different things tonight. So I kind of want to come on here one more time and just show maybe one more. But anyway, they have then her and Ronald got out with some people to basically make a rug deal, and they had something as tiny as a pin in a car, and they got busted, basically, the story goes, and they all went to jail, ended up in prison, yada yada, for that. And so that's basically, what happened and why they're there. Misty got a lot more time, as y'all heard on the news just a minute ago. He's out, but yeah, I agree, Terry. He got taken by her charm. And as you heard, after he got out, he still has not stopped about his daughter. Yeah, I think so. Bingo. That's what I think too, because I wholeheartedly believe he had nothing to do with anything. And the way the police and all that he did on that call, he was blaming her. But anyway, the case, okay, before I go any further, let's watch one more. Hold on just a minute. Hold on. Let me share this screen. Before I share it, I'm going to have to turn on this music. Hold on. I'm going to have to turn on this music. It's still Jax 4, but I got to turn on this music. I know they're playing music, but I'm going to have to play a little bit. Hold on.
We are now unraveling investigators' theories about what happened to this missing Putnam County girl who disappeared 10 years ago this Sunday. For those of you who lived here at the time, you remember, like we do, the exhaustive search for 5-year-old Haley Cummings. The Satsuma kindergartner vanished from bed in the middle of the night on February 10th, 2009.
She is still missing. No one has been charged in her disappearance. Every day this week on the morning show, we've brought you every aspect of the case.
Now, 3 of the investigators have sat down with Jennifer Waugh, revealing for the first time publicly what they believe may have happened to this 5-year-old and why.
When I went to sleep, she was there, and then when I woke up, she was gone.
It seemed unfathomable. A 5-year-old snatched from bed in the small rural town of Satsuma. This was the last person to see the little girl. Her father's girlfriend, Misty Crosland, tearfully recounts waking up to find the back door of their home wide open and Haley Cummings gone. Her father was working a midnight shift.
We're asking for the public's help.
John Merchant was the detective in charge of the Haley Cummings case for the Putnam County Sheriff's Office in 2009.
I sit here today telling you Haley was not abducted by a stranger.
He's now retired. He believes Misty could solve the mystery.
She knows where the little girl is. I do believe that.
So does Robert Mathis, who also worked the case for the state attorney's office.
Because the story didn't make any sense.
Misty had told them she was in bed sleeping right next to Haley and Haley's little brother when the kindergartner disappeared.
This child is 5 years old. She's verbal. She's active. Someone's not going to come in there in the middle of the night and grab the child and nobody wake up.
And there was something else, too. There were no signs anyone had forced their way into the home.
And then, of course, we got very quickly into Misty Crosland's background.
Robert Hardwick worked alongside Mathis and Merchant. All three say they do not believe the 5-year-old was taken by someone. They think she died accidentally hours after her father left for work.
I think that somebody gave the child some drugs, or the child got some drugs accidentally, and she died. And people panicked and had to get rid of the body.
We've learned that Haley was seen at a party in Palatka, miles away from her Satsuma home, hours before she was reported missing.
There was some information that came in that she got a hold of a pill or some type of a narcotic at that party and passed away from it. And then, the body was dumped. But there's no verification of that. There were so many people that were claimed to have been at this party, that claimed to have knowledge of this party, claimed to be involved in the disappearance. To this day, none of it is 100% verified. We actually went into an area just southwest of Palatka and drained a pond where, somebody had said that she left this party in the trunk of a car and was put into this pond. We drained the pond and there's no Haley.
No body, no physical evidence, and unverified information was not enough to prove in court what these three believe happened to Haley Cummings. They couldn't charge anyone, and the case went cold. Until months later, a break. Misty Crosland was arrested on drug trafficking charges.
I told myself that day, let's get ready. Today's today. We're going to recover Haley tonight.
Merchant thought for sure if she had any information, she would talk. The 17-year-old was facing a 25-year sentence if convicted.
An interview was conducted with some FDLE agents and Misty, and she gave some indication of the involvement of her brother and Joe Overstreet, her cousin Joe Overstreet, and that she had knowledge that Haley was dumped in the water at the Shell Harbor boat ramp, and even described a bag, even described a concrete block, even described a rope.
Hank Crosland, Misty's brother, and Joe Overstreet had always denied any involvement. But investigators rushed to that boat ramp 500 yards from where Haley vanished.
There was nothing turned up.
Nothing. No sign of Haley. As Misty was being driven back to jail that day in April 2010, Hardwick says he'll never forget what she told them.
She's like, never mind, I'm not telling the truth. I mean, I didn't get it.
To this day, the investigators believe Misty Crosland holds the answers to this little girl's whereabouts.
To say that you're there, that you witnessed something, and your original account is you woke up in the middle of the night and Haley's missing, and then now you're saying, well, I watched my brother and Joe Overstreet take her out of the house. That's confessing that you didn't tell the truth the first time and that you do have knowledge of what happened.
Misty Crosland never gave investigators any more information about Haley Cummings. She is currently serving a 25-year sentence for trafficking in prescription medications at Lowell Correctional Institution in Ocala, Florida. I wrote her last month requesting an interview. Here's how she responded. In part, it reads, "I want to know and get to the bottom of this just as much, if not more, than the community. I love Haley and wish desperately for any advancement and safe return of her back to the family." She denied having anything to do with Haley's disappearance again to me. I have not heard from her since then, but of course we'll keep everyone posted.
Jen, if, as this detective said, Misty Crosland has given, in effect, a confession, why no charges?
So frustrating. It's exactly what I kept asking him as well. And the reality is that all of the investigators told me the same thing. And that is that she has told them a different story so often that just an alleged confession that she then later rescinded is simply not enough to prove that she did anything criminally wrong. And her brother and cousin deny what she accused them of doing. We don't even have any idea if they even attended the party that she was reportedly seen at. And so as a result, no body, no physical evidence, no case.
So many questions. What about Haley's family?
Yeah.
They refuse to believe that this little girl is not coming home. They refuse. Without a body, they believe she's alive, and they believe she's going to come home one day. She would be 15 years old today. 15. And we hope she comes home. We hope.
Jen, thank you. If you know anything about Haley Cummings' disappearance, call Crime Stoppers at this number, 888-277-TIPS. There is still a $15,000 reward for information called into the tip line that leads to somebody being arrested.
And starting Monday, you can listen to the first episode of our podcast, Into Thin Air. It has extended interviews with investigators, family, and neighbors. It's available on select podcast platforms, and you can subscribe now. For more, visit.
There is so much information out there, so many videos out there, on this. If you're interested in this, I really would suggest that you look it up, because there is so much about this, and it's very interesting. It is. But what I want y'all to know about this is I want you to know about what they did with this case. There may not be a body. She may be out there alive, but this is what the police did with this case. This case has been reclassified by Putnam County Sheriff as a homicide, even though Haley has never been found. And then an age progression image was released in 2024, which shows what she might look like today. Now, today, she would be 21 years old. There's still no closure, and there's still no answers, and there's still no justice for her family. And her family deserves the truth. Her story is a reminder that missing children are not forgotten. And we must keep speaking their names, and we must keep sharing their faces, and we must keep pushing for answers that they deserve. Yep, angel wings, that's right. And, they could do that with Sebastian's if they wanted to, but Seth ain't going to let that happen. But I'm just saying, that's what they did. They reclassified this as a homicide, and they're doing the same thing. No, it was in Florida, Lisa, but you can look up Haley. All you got to do is Google Haley Cummings. This was a huge case. And nobody's been charged with it. However, they were, both in prison for a rug bust. And hey, Millie. Hey, honey. Love you, honey. Hope you're doing okay. And, so they did reclassify it. Yes. But these children are not forgotten, and we must keep speaking their names. We must keep sharing their faces, and we must keep pushing for the answers that they deserve. Today, I ask you to be the voice for Haley. Share her story, share her memory, let her memory live in spite of everything, and inspire action. Someone out there knows. They know something, and silence helps no one. Silence absolutely helps no one. It don't get anything solved, and it helps no one. It don't get anything resolved. Be a voice, bring her home, and give them closure. And I just want to thank you all for being here again with me. And again, today is National Missing Children's Day. And we featured Haley Cummings here. And I hope to see y'all again in a little bit with one more. And this morning we featured Sebastian Rogers. And at the bottom, I always keep his information here too, no matter who I'm talking about. And thank you again for joining me. Thank you, mods. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Please hit that thumbs up, because it does keep everything out. And we want to keep their name and faces out. Thank you all. Love you all. See you later. Bye.